And good day, everyone. Richard Cowperthwait for Northwest Access TV. Thanks for joining us. We have an hour show coming up, talking all things Swanton. Happy to have on board today Susie Kelleher, Swanton Village trustee, Earl Fournier, the vice chair of the Swanton Select Board, and Nicole Draper, a Swanton Select Board member and executive director of Swanton Recreation. Thanks, folks. Good to see you.
Thanks, Richard. Thank
So I guess Swanton promotion, Earl, that's kind of the big thing you want to get out?
Yes, we're trying to bring our website into the 21st century.
Yeah. Have you had a website? Have you had a website
Yes,
for a
we
long
do.
time?
We've had one. We've updated it a couple of years, 3 years ago, I guess, 2 years ago. But I don't think it's hasn't turned out the way we would like to see it turn out. But we need to update it. To be more competitive with what other towns and communities are doing.
And this is a village in town getting together for this?
Yes.
Yeah.
It'll be all one website, and then you can go to the village services or town services right from that one spot. But the big thing is, to promote the activities in Swanton and the businesses, and also to try to find a way to communicate better with people. And I think it's unfortunate that people, communicate that way today, emails and stuff like that. So, we want to make our website fit into the way people communicate today.
Yeah. So that's something you're still working on at this point, or?
Well, we're working on it, but we're coming close. We're going to be making updates here on our website fairly soon. I would say by mid-October we should have some changes already made. Yeah. But we've also, and I'll let Nicole and Susie get into this, we've got a new logo, and I know he has a picture of it he can show on the TV for everybody to see, but and it's part of the branding process, and you can take a look at it, Richard.
Wow, that looks, what was the old logo?
Well, we basically...
Each individual municipality had their own logo,
really?
and we wanted one logo to signify Swanton as a whole, as the conversation.
That looks great.
And we're in the process of getting some welcome to Swanton signs up with that on it. Yeah. Probably have, we're planning on 4 of them in different locations, probably one on Lakewood Drive, and then another one out this way, between St. Albans and Swanton. Yeah. And then one probably off the interstate, and then one on the way into Swanton somewhere. And then Susie, I know, is working on this too, and it's something that we'll probably get more of next year. We're going to do the wayfinding signs in the village, so people can know where to go from outside, people outside of Swanton. Another driving thing behind this is Lamoille Valley Rail Trail.
In fact, I was about to mention that. Have you made some progress on the trailhead work?
Yeah.
Looks good.
Yeah. It's almost completed, and will be fairly soon. And that we want to promote our community to bring people here. There's 2 things that I think Swanton has that nobody else in the state of Vermont has. Yeah. We have our Abenaki heritage, and we have the Missisquoi Refuge. Yeah. Which is
tremendous. What a great asset. I was out there this couple of weeks ago for some good walking.
And that fits in, these things fit in well with the Lamoille Valley Rail Trail. And, we need to promote ourselves and let people know what's here to support our small businesses and, bring people here to Swanton.
Boy, I just feel bad for the refuge. Ken Sturm, the great manager. Boy, I think they got cut some more. I mean, I hope they keep, they're what do they have, like 3 paid staff maybe for, 6,500 acres or something?
Yeah. So, from conversations I've had, it's really important for them to be able to show how much that refuge is important to the surrounding community. Sure. So as our part, it's driving people to that, making sure they're intertwined in all of the aspects of the community, because it is such a huge asset to Swanton.
Yeah. Do you get the sense, Nicole, do you know how many people check out the website? Is that something, do you see numbers for that, or would you not know that?
I don't think we don't keep track of the numbers enough.
We had gotten some hard numbers, I think, about six months ago, but there's not a lot of people utilizing our joint website, and I think that it just because it has just, that basic muni like look to it. It's,
Yeah.
Just very blah.
Yeah.
And that was one of the things that Earl and Nicole and I got together and we were talking about, like, what if we could zhuzh it up a little bit and make it look a little bit, better. And then there were some aspects of that different munis had that we liked, that we were like, oh, well, if we took this from this one and this from this one and kind of combined it. And so we started working with our website developer and, came up with some ideas on promoting places to stay and places to play and places to eat and, the shopping we have. And it's not just focused on the downtown, it's focused Swanton wide. We take into consideration that, Merchants Row is our historic downtown, but we have businesses scattered throughout Swanton that we've highlighted in the website. I believe we are trying to go live
Yeah.
15th of October,
17th, I thought.
17th of October.
Yeah.
And it's, we're not promoting individual businesses, we're just promoting what's in the community.
Yeah.
And we haven't been, and we're not competing with, say, the Chamber of Commerce, but,
I would trust the chamber's
Yeah.
happy to see your efforts with this.
well, I think it'll help their businesses, because people are gonna check Swanton out, and then they can check out what's going on in the government, everything that we're doing, but then they can go to them other pages, for the businesses and activities. So they'll know what's going on. And then these businesses that are listed on our site, their if they have one of them QR codes,
QR codes.
they can, we're not gonna have a full page for every business. We're just gonna have it listed there, and if they wanna find out more information, they can go directly to the business to
Right.
get that information.
It will drive them to either the business's own website or the business's, Facebook page or whatever social media the business has for itself. So that's the idea, is to let not only people from outside, tourists, know what we have, but let people who actually live in the communities and surrounding communities know what we have, because, somebody might say, oh, I didn't realize, you could pick strawberries on the middle road or,
Yeah.
and so
Or-
it's nice,
One thing I heard this summer was, oh, they had a block party, I didn't know what was going on.
yeah.
Really.
So, we're not getting it out because we're not using the way people communicate today, and we gotta make that change.
I caught the car show. The car show certainly seemed to be
Yes.
its usual big success. But
Yeah.
Boy, media are so fragmented these days. It's just not like the old days.
No.
Any other ways to try to get in Swanton promoted more? Do you think about advertising, or where would you advertise? Is it mostly kind of the website?
I think the website's gonna be big, don't you?
I
Yeah.
do. I think bringing in the Lamoille Valley Rail Trail will help, because there'll be trail promotions all throughout the communities along the rail trail.
Yeah.
So outdoor recreational enthusiasts will be able to see what Swanton has to highlight. I also think that one of the things we've worked on is just kind of a generic and basic brochure that there'll be links to on our wayfinding signs to allow people to know some of our larger assets, our recreational assets, as well as having a general map of our community, but it will have a link to our business directory so they can see all of the other amenities that we have to offer in our community.
Yeah.
And as far as other opportunities to advertise, we've put in a lot of legwork to get out there and not only advertise what we're doing or what we're trying to accomplish, but it's also creating that word of mouth that is really a big traditional part of the Vermont culture. And I think that's something that as we move forward into the future, that all of these different avenues become successful because they're targeting different demographics.
The Swanton, I guess I call it Swanton Village Beach, Swanton Beach, is that something that could be getting a lot more attention?
So
That is, the village does own
the
that.
village does own
Yeah.
McQuon Beach. We call it McQuon Beach.
McQuon Beach.
Does own
Boy,
it.
the low lake level, probably
It's
not
a very
the.
low lake level. When I was there last week checking the algae blooms, the cyanobacteria, because I am also the town health officer.
Oh, wow.
I was noting how receded it had gotten even
Yeah.
from the beginning of or the end of June when I started looking at the cyanobacteria to, last week, and I was like, wow,
Yeah.
this is bad. But yeah, there's a bunch of underused things at the beach. There's there's that large pavilion that could be used for people for celebrations.
It doesn't get much use
Doesn't
seemingly.
get much use that I can see. Usually when, like I said, I go there, there's like maybe 2 or 3 cars in the parking lot, and usually, maybe one boat trailer, and people just kind of line fishing from the boat ramp. And, I think Nicole and I have been talking about putting our heads together to find a way to better use the assets that the village owns in a recreational capacity. So that's something that we're going to be moving forward towards.
Yeah. Hard, as we're talking recreation, hard not to go back to the years, there have been efforts to try to get possibly a new recreation department headquarters, community center. And I know there was talk of a bond issue for a while, and it sounds like that talk kind of went away, but there's still efforts on that front. Earl, Nicole?
It's still an ongoing discussion.
Yeah.
There's not a set direction now as to where we're going to go, but we need to come up with a plan and start moving it forward. And that, I'm not talking about a bond vote. I'm just talking about what are we going to do?
Yeah.
What is our final goal? That hasn't even been agreed upon. I think that's fair to say.
Right, there's still lots
Really?
of discussions and lots of moving pieces to it. As far as recreation goes, we are at capacity. We are serving the community in so many different ways that have never traditionally been done before. So we've outgrown our space. And as we move forward and look at what those different options are, we really are focused on making sure that it's as minimal to the taxpayers as we possibly can. And that's a whole strategic plan of making sure that we can accomplish that, because we want it to continue to be an asset for the community and not a burden.
Did you have a good summer participation-wise? A very busy summer for you?
We had an awesome summer.
Yeah.
We've had an awesome season this year. Our numbers are great. Our summer program was very well attended. We've moved into fall athletics, and we've got the largest soccer group that we've ever had.
Really?
We've started the Northwest Valley Ducks as a feeder program to Missisquoi Valley Union High School, their football program, and we are coming up with all kinds of creative ideas to continue to keep the community engaged this winter, as well as plans for 2026 to continue to grow and support our community with their health and wellness needs.
You get some folks, some kids, or adults for that matter, in from outside Swanton too. I'm sure mostly Swanton, but some other area towns.
We primarily serve Swanton, but we love to be neighborly. We want everybody to feel like they have a place in Swanton, so we welcome folks from Alberg, St. Albans, Highgate. I had a family from Montgomery come down this summer for summer camp. We've even had people come across the border to attend some of our programs from Canada. So. It's just highlighting the things that we think we do really well and sharing it with everybody in our region.
Or speaking of coming across the border, I got to think Canadian traffic. Canadian folks it's got to be down with all the tariff controversy and stuff. Is that probably hard to get numbers, but is that pretty obvious? I mean,
just as being the spouse of somebody who works for CBP.
Is that right?
Yeah. Yes, the numbers are down, at least at the port he works at.
Is that right?
Yeah. Yeah,
Wow.
I don't think there's any question. Anybody that's lived here any length of
Sure.
time, just drive down the road and you see very few.
Not too many Quebec plates these
Many
days.
Quebec plates.
For
So.
local businesses, that's got to, I would think in a normal year, that must be, is it maybe like 10 to 20%? Or I would think it's a not insignificant part of the business, but that's just a guess, but got to be part of their business.
I think it's a large portion. I mean, at least
Yeah.
some of the business owners that I've talked to, at least in the downtown area, have stated that a majority of their business prior to the tariffs were Canadians and people from New York State.
Really, majority. Wow.
I know the campgrounds, I talked to one campground owner and it's not their best year.
Yeah, I bet.
And it's because they lost a fair amount of their Canadian traffic.
Yeah. Interesting comment. I listened to, still a great radio, I'm still a radio guy in part, but
Yeah.
CJAD, the great station out of Montreal, it's just still a very good info, news station, AM 800.
Yeah.
An interesting comment that their afternoon talk show guy, Aaron Rand, picked up on the other day. Jean Charest, former Quebec conservative, I was almost said prime minister, premier, but a very solid guy. I think Dick Snelling, when he was governor, dealt with him. He goes back a lot of years. But he made a comment that they picked up on the other day. Jean Charest saying, hey, 20 years down the road or so, people will thank Donald Trump for being so hard on us. And his point was, he thought, just one person's opinion, but a pretty smart person, saying he just thought Canada had gotten too complacent, too kind of lost their identity a bit. And now with the bitterness about, the U.S. and stuff, it's kind of brought them together, he thinks. And anyway, but it's a hit on certainly border towns and border counties like Franklin. It's, to me, a very unfortunate situation. But anyway, Franklin County State Airport, future development there, is that something you're hooking into at all with the promotion, or?
Well, I suppose as it expands, we will add that into it.
Maybe down the
but
road
at
anyway.
the present time, there's, a lot of what they hoped was going to happen there, I guess is not going to be happening there.
Oh, is that like, can you elaborate on that?
Well, they were supposed to be building buildings there. Yes, there was supposed to be some development there.
Yeah, nothing
but I
at
guess
this, although water and sewer line, they just got extended not that long ago, correct?
Right, yeah, we have a memorandum of understanding with the town of Highgate. We expanded our water and sewer to the airport.
From what, from MVU, I guess, is that
Our sewer line stopped at MVU, and so we extended it
Yeah.
to the airport. And then after a year after it's built, we'll be taking over the water and sewer line from Highgate.
But it's going to be a ways down the road if we see some development.
But we need to be in a position to take advantage of that as a community too. When it happens, we have the same thing over here in the Southern Growth District, as we call it, off the interstate, you say over here. But
That brings the National Guard to mind.
that's coming. The states there. Neither one of them are generating any significant revenue for the town, obviously. But I think you're going to see more development in that area, and we're planning for it. There's things that that are happening, and I'm not sure if a lot of people in Swanton realize it's happening. And we got to find a better way to communicate, because one of the other things that on this website that we really want to get people involved is they can sign up for, I guess, news alerts or whatever you want to call it.
Email notifications.
Email notifications. That can go out so they can keep not only about what's going on with the town government and the village trustees, but I feel more important is what's happening for activities in Swan. The recreation department, the library, they have a lot of great programs, and there's the
Arts Council, the Abenaki of the Missisquoi, the Wildlife Refuge.
So there's a lot of stuff there.
A lot of stuff going on.
Creative art always
Creative art.
has art.
Yeah.
So how do you is there some way you can convince people, hey, look at our website, there's tons of information there for you? How do you get Joe Blow or Mary Blow to even, look on the website?
It's educating them that it's there. It's
That it's
letting
there.
them know that this is our hub for information.
Yeah.
It's all in one spot now. We're trying to make it easier to maneuver and manage. It's also making it visually appealing to folks to having them want to come back. That's part of where the whole rebranding, the community logo came from, is because we want people to be proud to know that they can go someplace and get factual information from the government, from community entities, and building the trust is what we're essentially trying to do with our website.
Yeah, because in today's, especially.
Oh, it's tough. I've been
It
in the
is
media
that,
up here
but I
for
mean,
50 years.
there's so much apathy out there, and I think a lot of it's got to do that, as an elected official, I mean, I'll take responsibility for that, because I don't think we're communicating properly. And I don't think we're transparent as we can be,
Yeah.
as we should be.
Yeah.
If we're going to have a successful community, we need to have the community involved.
Yeah.
Just elected officials can't do everything on their own. We need people to participate and be part of the decision-making process, and we need more involvement by the community. And I'm hoping that, this will help that, and I'm just going to have someone who's an outsider to the
You're
social media
Digital age.
world, okay?
not an outsider to Swanton, right?
Right, an
No,
outsider to,
outside. Yeah.
I don't even have a smartphone.
Don't text
But-
Earl. He won't answer.
Yeah.
I can relate to a lot of what you're saying too.
But when I do, because of the way things are done today, when I have to find out something and I'm doing it, I go to the place, I see a site, and I get excited looking at it.
Yeah.
Some of them I don't, so I don't look at them. And I think that's where we're sort of at right now.
Yeah.
And I think if people realize what we're doing and they take a look at it, they're going to find it be very helpful.
Yeah.
And it, hopefully it'll make them feel like they're more part of the community. Because as much as, we want to promote ourselves and attract outside people,
Yeah.
the people in the community themselves are the ones that we really need to
Sure.
have involved.
Yeah.
And obviously, you'd love to see more local people get involved in boards, whatever
Yeah.
activities,
boards,
obviously.
activities. I mean, the Swanton Enhancement Project has a whole ranging of activities that people can get involved in.
Task
Yeah.
force,
Yeah.
committees.
I mean,
As a SEP program, it does have members, but, they could use more to get more done, and poor Susie over here, she does the beautiful committee.
the flowers.
Yeah. And, if anybody, there's nobody that I've talked to or talked to me about this, they say, gee, Swanton looks really great.
Yeah.
But if we have more people involved in that process, we could make it even look better,
Yeah.
Same thing with our community events. If we had more invested community members,
Sure.
we can bring back things similar to a festival or other great events that would make people really proud to be a part of Swanton, continuing to drive, economic development by showing people how well we work together. And I think that that's something, at least in the 5 years that I've been involved in local government, that we've really done a great job at doing, is working together, collaborating, and we want to encourage more people that they can come out and do that too. And there's all kinds of different places for them to do that. One of the things, we did a lot of the legwork to collect information for our local business directory, and I think that gave a lot of our local business owners the courage to put themselves out there a little bit more. We met individuals within our community that are entrepreneurs that we might not have met otherwise. And again, that's just showing the diversity of the type of people that live in our community, and how strong we could be if we all start to work together.
I wanted to know, we're taping this show on Thursday, September 11, noteworthy day, 24th anniversary of 9/11. And speaking of just events and stuff, any events coming up in September? Do you do any fall foliage festivals? Do you do anything like that in Swanton? I know Enosburg's got one on September 20, I think. Is that any events you want to talk about that are coming up?
We haven't planned any events for September. I know the Swanton Enhancement Project has their annual meeting on the 18th at 5 o'clock at the complex.
Yeah.
And then the next event after that would be Halloween in the park.
There's also a community pumpkin labyrinth sponsored by Creative Heart Counseling that will happen at the rec center. Halloween in the park will then be our next big event, with the back to school starting, homecoming at Missisquoi Valley Union High School, and all of the other activities getting back into this rotation or routine. It's a really busy time of year for folks. So
Well, it sounds like you stay busy. Are you never not busy, Nicole?
I love to stay busy.
I was gonna say
Sounds
she's
like
not
that's not a problem,
She's
huh?
not running the rec. I'm roping her into something like, hey, we're gonna do music in the park. You're gonna help me with the block party, and But, you know, she's one of those assets in the community where you're like, I have an idea, and she helps you make it into a reality.
And that's one area where if we get more people involved, then you're going to see more activities.
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Local option tax, that's in the LOT. I talked
That's
to-
under consideration.
Under consideration.
I don't believe we got the legislation through last year because of being a town and a
There
village.
was some kind of confusion or a little complexity about dealing with that with the village and town.
Well, if the town votes for it and the village votes for it,
Yeah,
then the businesses in the village
2%.
boundaries are going to pay 2%.
is that right?
Yeah.
Really?
That's the way they wrote the law.
So from the way the village perspective is that we understand it, is that if the town passes it and then the town and the village can agree to some split, much like we.
How to divvy up.
Yeah,
the-
much like we do with the fire department,
Yeah.
you know, and then that's how we could handle it instead of having to double tax our town,
Right.
our village businesses.
Oh, really? I hadn't heard about that before.
But that
Yeah.
is not allowable under the present law, from what we were told.
Yeah, there
That-
still needs to be some
There-
legislation.
Yeah.
And the
It needs
hope
to
was
be
there'd be
changed.
legislation
Yeah.
to change that, and that apparently didn't happen.
Did not happen.
Did not happen. You know, and I mean, it's a source of another revenue, because, you know, our property taxes are, you know, basically too high. But, of course, most of it goes for education. So it does, you know, for someone who serves on a board in a town, you know, there's a lot of things I'd like to see us do, but I don't really believe we can take on the load at the present time, unless we can either see a little bit more growth in the grand list or find other sources of income.
Yeah. Or St. Albans City and St. Albans Town before the city seemingly have fared pretty well with that.
Yeah.
St. Albans Town, which you're probably well aware, paying
Yeah.
for the pretty new town hall, public works garage through that.
Right.
And again, not like it's not costing people a little more. They
Right.
are paying for that, but they seem to be pretty happy. I guess the state's even giving the communities a little more. State used to take, what, a third of that? I think they're down a little bit. I think they're giving the communities a little more out of, anyway, so
It'd
that's
be nice
still,
if they did.
that's still,
Right.
still under discussion.
Yeah, it's something that we want to discuss because, I mean, we have the bridge, the village has the bridge
Yeah.
replacement coming up. We
Another
have
big issue, right?
Right, we have 3 downtown projects that we're working on revamping, Merchants Row up to Grand Avenue in the intersection of First Street, Church Street and Canada Street. And those are all slated to start 2006, 7, and 2028, 2026, 27, 28.
Okay.
And then the bridge is also going to be somewhere in that time frame, probably 2028. So we have a lot of things going on, and we don't want to have to raise the taxes of the village voters. The village grand list is relatively small. In this year, the increase that we did have was cost of living because our employees should be allowed to have a raise, and because, you know, paying benefits and paying the insurance, you know, that cost goes up, and municipalities aren't, you know, they're not money makers, contrary to what I think a lot of people think is like we have a hoard of money that we have somewhere. We have to break even at the end of the year. We have to account for every dollar and where is it going. And if we have money that we haven't spent, is it earmarked for something? And normally for us in the village, money not spent is earmarked for police cruisers and fire department upgrades. So, you know, we're trying the hardest that we can to not raise everybody's taxes. And so when we're looking at these big projects we come up, you know, we're looking at grants, we're looking at how are we going to pay for the rest of it. And if we had the local option tax, that would help tremendously to take a load off from the taxpayers that we have in the village.
Yeah, and just to go along with it, this is why we need to do these things.
Yeah.
Because if we, you know, if we're gonna ask our businesses to provide that, you know, be happy about having to do that tax,
Be nice to give them something.
we
kind of in
gotta,
return.
you know, be supportive of them too.
Yeah.
And, you know, that's part of what, plus the other reason I think we got started on this is there's been a real sizable investment made in the Swanton Village downtown area
Yeah.
by Gordon Winters and his family. And
Sounds like the restaurant,
Yeah.
Green Mountain
Oh, yeah.
Bistro is doing
It's doing very
well.
well.
and the
Yeah.
bakery and even the Ace Hardware. I mean, it's brought a lot of activity to
Yeah.
Swanton. And, you know, we need to be supportive of that, and we need to try to see it keep growing. And I think a lot of it has to do with how you promote yourself and what you look like. You don't have to have $1 million buildings, but you gotta have the flowers.
Yeah.
You know, you gotta have them nice wayfinding signs. These kind of, or the logos, you know, that we're gonna put on the road, welcoming people to Swanton. Those kind of things make a big difference, to people in the area that live here, but people coming through too.
Any new businesses coming into town? And I'm sure you're happy to keep what you have, but
Very happy to keep what we have, and I haven't heard of any new businesses.
Yeah.
I'm not aware of any at the present. There's some talk about a couple different ones, but I don't want to get into that because, you know, it's too early. But I got to say one thing, you know, because I spent quite a bit of my own time, you know, talking to business people, letting
Yeah.
them know we're doing this, asking them for that information. We have a lot of businesses on. And I know we've missed some, okay? And if you're out there and you're listening to this and you haven't seen us, you know, you can call me. I'll get there and talk to you, and I'll bring you to the forum so you can provide us with the information. It wasn't done intentionally. You know, we're not discriminating. We're including everybody.
yeah.
You know,
But just in case you're missing somebody,
Yeah.
I'd love to hear
Yeah.
from anybody.
Again, it's us doing the legwork, and
Yeah.
so
Right.
if we don't know, it's because we don't know, but we want to know. We want to
Yeah.
meet you. We want to learn about your business. We want to help you become a part of our community, and that's you know every business or small business, whether you're a professional photographer, home baker. You have a small agricultural business. We want to hear about
Yeah.
it. We want to know because that contributes to the whole community at large.
You think most folks with your recreation department so busy, you think most people have a pretty good handle on what you're doing? Or I'm sure there are still some people who probably don't, huh?
If you have young children or
Yeah,
children
children.
in general, I
Sure.
think you
You'd
are
probably
somewhat
know.
engaged. We partner a lot with the school district on things. We're still working on ways to engage our aging Vermonters or our adult population a little bit more. And you know, there are still some people that I think that live in the community that don't understand what we do, but we're open to all and every idea to help, you know, them, again, feel welcomed in our community and being a part of it, so.
Yeah. Susie, I'm sorry, go ahead, Earl.
well, I just wanted to add to what Nicole's saying. I think that shows that, you know, facility-wise, we're probably really short for recreation. You know, so we do need to do something with our facilities in the near future. And I think
terms of
that'll get more
facilities.
involved, especially with the adult population.
Yep.
You know, but we don't have a plan yet, but we've got to get one going.
Is there hope for a new, however you'd fund it, is there hope for a new and bigger headquarters? I guess ideally, a new headquarters and community center, ideally anyway, huh?
In my opinion, we are lacking indoor gymnasium space, and that could be used as a mixed-use facility for other activities or programs, or trade shows or concerts, or, you know, Swanton in general just doesn't have a large indoor space outside of the schools, and the schools are at maximum capacity supporting our young people. So it's finding or creating another community space that can house the large majority of everybody.
Is the school population pretty stable? Is it going up a little? Is it pretty stable? Do you know school numbers per chance?
I don't
Oh, no.
I believe my
That's
daughter,
Keisha.
my daughter teaches at the elementary. And
Oh,
I
really?
think she was saying they're pretty stable, and actually the kindergarten might be up a little bit.
Yeah, probably about what I would have guessed without
Yeah.
knowing that for sure.
Yeah.
Susie, let's talk dam, exploit your
dam.
presence here. A big story, and again, I guess you're hoping, I think most folks out there are familiar with the failure, catastrophic failure?
Catastrophic
Of the
failure.
dam, that was back in June?
June, I want to say it was in June.
Wow, and the hope was that FERC, Federal Energy Regulatory Commission, which, and you're in the process, of course, trying to get relicensed by FERC.
We are, yeah.
But I guess you're hoping they would let you try to repair the dam? and-
Right, so the idea was that they allow us to repair the dam in place. So there's a large ripped seam if you're on the bridge looking at the dam, and it was on the left side.
And the bridge is an incredible place to be, especially when you got volume in the river. It's incredible being on that bridge.
Yep, absolutely. So that was the idea. But the FERC engineer shot that down. He said that he didn't think that was plausible. And then after, we did a request, a formal request, we found out that the manufacturer of our rubber dam also has had catastrophic failures in other locations in the United States, and that was
You
why
didn't know that earlier,
we
presumably?
did not, and that
Really?
is why FERC was like, we're not going to let you fix that place. You need to take it out. So that is happening this week.
As in removing it.
Removing the dam, cutting it into 10-foot sections, and taking it out, and then our engineers that we hired are going to look at the dam structure and see what we can put in place that could be a temporary fix so that we're able to capture the runoff come spring, and then simultaneously giving us a few options on what we can do to move forward to build a more permanent dam structure.
Typically, when there weren't problems, I think it generated about 80% or so of the
80%, yeah.
power
yeah,
that Swanton
yeah.
Electric.
Yep. Yeah.
produce.
So we're thinking probably we're going to be about 60%, but right now we're in a drought, so we're buying as it is. But the board of trustees, we're going to have a decision coming up. I don't know if it's the next meeting or the meeting after. Since we have to source on the open market, are we going to continue to look for 100% renewable energy, which can be costly, or are we going to lose our 100% renewable energy certification and just get whatever we can on the open market? So that's one of the decisions that we're facing.
If you did nothing, you'd still be able to generate, if you had no new thing there, you generate some power, but
We would generate some, but it's not.
Way less.
Yeah, it's not as.
So you feel you got to do
We gotta
something,
do
obviously.
something, yeah.
Boy, not at all clear what that is right now.
Not right now. We're just, we're kind of playing it day by day as we move through the removal of the dam.
How long will that take?
They figured it would take a week to remove the dam.
And they're doing that
and
as
they're
we
doing it
as we
as
speak.
I believe they started yesterday or the day before. So it should take about a week, and then that'll allow the engineers to have a good view of the structure that the inflatable bladder sat on and what we can do to make that work.
I can only assume this complicates just the renewal process. It certainly doesn't facilitate that, I assume.
Yeah, so Bill Sheets, our village manager, has been working very closely with our FERC attorney, Paul Nolan, to figure out what steps we need to take now with not only FERC but with the Agency of Natural Resources here in the state.
Wow, good luck with all that.
Yeah.
Big issues. At least you did get voter approval at March town meeting of the Swanton Village Electric Department expansion
building,
that should help the police department situation.
Yes.
And you're looking for construction of that next year?
Yes,
in
we're
the
hoping
spring?
to break ground in the spring on that. We are still moving forward. That I know that there's some talk about, well, why don't we, put that on hold to, deal with the dam issue, but we have to deal with all these issues at one point.
Wow.
So
You got plenty of issues to deal with.
you do.
Earl, I talked to Tim Smith, who I'm interviewing tomorrow, actually, St. Albans Mayor and Franklin County Industrial Development Corp. He was on WVMT this morning. But I once in a while think to ask him about the rest area. He, and I'm sure a lot of folks, would love to see another rest area on the interstate.
Yeah.
Ideally in your, Highgate Swanton area. Any news on that? I'll try to ask him about that tomorrow.
Last that we heard that was gonna be built somewhere off the interstate.
So I
Oh,
did
is that
get,
right?
I did get an update yesterday.
Really?
I'm also a board commissioner for Northwest Regional Planning.
Oh, really? Great.
Representative from the town of Swanton.
Yeah.
That there are moving forward with plans, and I believe it's going to actually be on the highway, but
Huh.
in between the north and southbound lanes, but
Oh.
no specific location was disclosed to me, but it seems like they are hopefully going to continue to move forward with that, but it's certainly not going to be this year.
Right, interesting. So in between the lanes, so northbound and southbound traffic could both deal with it.
Correct.
Interesting.
But I did spend a few hours in Canada yesterday.
Yeah,
There's not much traffic coming through that border, so.
I'm sure.
They may say, well, we'll wait and see if things pick back up
That's
in
true.
the future, yeah.
That might not exactly help to
I'm
kick
sure
that
this-
along.
I'm sure the state's got plenty of other places to spend their money and,
Yeah,
we'd like to see them spend a little bit up, on the 207 Bushy Road intersection. There's a scope and study in the process up there
yeah.
because there's a lot of traffic in that area. It's not a very good intersection, and of course you're gonna see more development over there. Something's
You
gonna
need a
have to.
traffic light there.
Yeah, you're gonna need to do something, and, we're gonna look up, see what they come up with,
Not only that, but Bushy Road's like a racetrack
Yeah,
sometimes.
yeah, and, the village police have spent some extra time up there.
Yeah.
That must slow them down for a while, but
did
not
for a
for,
while, but
they
not
have to
forever,
keep
yeah.
going back and,
Yeah.
but the intersection itself, regardless of the speeding on Bushy Road, is a dangerous intersection.
Mm-hmm.
The sight vision is very poor.
Swanton Village PD, when I last talked to you folks and the village manager, I think Swanton Village PD was down 2 positions, Susie. Still the case?
Sort of.
Sort of.
So we recently hired back Chad Perrock
Huh.
to be the an additional school resource officer.
Oh, yeah.
He works between Swanton Highgate and Franklin School. This year, the village is picking up the cost of Chad Perrock because we had the money in the budget and we had that additional full-time officer slot that we hadn't filled. Next year and the year after, because it's a 3-year contract, the supervisory union will be picking up the cost of chat. But it's a benefit to us because it allows Officer Para to build these relationships with kids and to start early in the school. And, I speak from experience. My 3 sons, when they were in high school, were extremely close to Officer Cleary, the SRO. And as a matter of fact, 2 of my boys still are in contact with him.
And you've got at
very
least one of
regularly.
your kids in law enforcement or
I
more?
do have one of my kids
one
in
of the
law
kids.
enforcement, and when he was sworn in down at Brandon Police Department, Officer Cleary
Really?
went down to Brandon
that's cool.
and watched him get sworn in. So, it's definitely it's definitely good to start building those relationships early and to and that the relationship with a police officer doesn't always necessarily have to be on your worst day.
Sure.
For me, just growing up in a law enforcement family, I've never had that kind of view about police officers, but I do know that some kids do have a fear of police officers. So I think that's good. We still have a full-time slot that we're looking to fill. So, and there's plenty of part-time work if somebody wants to do that as well. But, I think we have a good group. Chief Sullivan does a great job at the PD and just trying to, get them up to full staff. And then eventually when the electric building is built, letting them assess what they have for new space and how they want to spread out in the area over there.
Yeah. Earl, Nicole, Swanton Village PD, you feel like they're doing a decent job in Swanton Town?
Yes, the board's happy with the services they've been providing the
Yeah.
town. I hear some complaints from town residents that maybe they're, speeding and stuff like that, but they can't be everywhere
Sure.
every minute. And I do think that the Swanton Village Police Chief is doing an outstanding job,
Yeah.
and he's trying to address some of the problems that are causing a lot of the other problems, and that has to do with drugs.
Sure.
He's put a lot of time and effort into that and been somewhat successful, and not an easy job to do, but he's really does a lot of work, but he's also very good dealing with people.
Yeah.
And you can tell he likes to deal with people.
Yeah.
So, it's going good.
No,
You agree, Nicole?
I agree, and
Yeah.
I think they've also this year have done some great community outreach. Their National Night Out was a huge success.
Yeah.
And just seeing them show up in places to show community support has been great as a town taxpayer, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So,
And it's a service that, as a town, I mean, we can't really rely anymore on the Vermont State Police. They're stretched extremely thin, and, I don't see any changes really coming there.
Of course, I can go back to 2 town meetings ago. It was a contested select board race, and one of the candidates who was unsuccessful, of course, a big issue. I mean, a pretty big increase in your budget
Yeah,
for more
Yeah.
police coverage.
yeah,
And one candidate said, yes, I support that, and who ended up winning. Other candidates said, I don't support that. And I said, if you get your wish and state police will take care of us. And I'm thinking, boy, good luck with that.
Yeah.
They're stretched really thin
They are,
too.
they're really thin, and people are retiring, and if you look at the police academy classes coming up,
Boy, not
usually
big
there's
classes, huh?
5, 6 troopers. Back when, my husband went to the Vermont Police
Wow.
Academy, over half of the academy was troopers. So it's just a drop-off is significant.
Yeah. So again, that budget vote 2 town meetings ago was a very close vote.
yeah, it was.
But this last town meeting was pretty
It was pretty
decisive.
much back to the numbers it
Yeah.
always was.
Yeah.
Yeah,
A very high percentage of yes votes.
yeah.
Basically, it's one of those things, we're gonna have to take care of ourselves. At the end of the day,
Yeah,
we're gonna answer for it,
and I think we're very lucky to have the Swanton Village Police, as somebody in our on our team. And I think that's an asset that people overlook sometimes because of the cost. But I
Yeah.
think there's far much more benefit to it than the cost alone. So.
fire department, I guess I'm always having to question Swanton Village, or is this
Well,
called Swanton Fire
But
Department?
so I mean, the Facebook page still says Swanton Village Fire Department, but
Really?
if you talk to Chief Chevalier, he will tell you he is one Swanton Fire Department,
Yeah.
and they're doing a great job. They're almost are at their capacity for volunteers.
Oh, is that
Wesley
right?
spoke to him.
Really?
He was one shy, and he was pretty sure he had
Really?
one on the hook.
Some women, some women
Yes,
volunteers?
there's women firefighters.
Oh.
Firefighters.
Firefighters.
Yes, that's right. Make sure I'm
And
using
some young women
young
firefighters
women,
that
That's
are,
great.
like Sabrina.
yep, and Alex Bordeaux is one that I've seen grow up
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
want to be involved, so.
that fits in with what we're,
Sure.
if people in the community feel good about it, they're gonna
Sure.
volunteer for these things,
Yeah.
And I hope we can keep a volunteer fire department. I mean, we lost a volunteer rescue department, and that's not realistic to think
Right.
that we're ever gonna have
Sure.
one again, but,
Yeah.
having, local people, doing these things
Yeah.
makes a
It's
big
important.
difference.
Oh yeah, no, it's important because they have an invested interest in in the community, and I know that whenever I have something I'm doing like beautification, I have like 5 or 6 firefighters who'll show up to help move pots and fill pots. And, when I do the Corn Fest 5K, I have, a few firefighters that will block off traffic while the runners are running through. So having people who are invested in the community really helps us to be able to do more events and more things for the community.
They're also showing up to coach and showing up to support, beautification efforts. When there was graffiti, they were the first people out to help tackle that. Again, we're very lucky to have so many dedicated people to our community that are invested, but we need more.
Do you have enough people coaching? Could you always use more coaches?
Always
need
use
more.
more coaches, always. And or volunteers at the rec department. And if you're not quite sure what your niche is, we'll help you explore until we find something that works best for you.
Right.
And just a casual observation,
Yeah.
a lot of those people are younger people,
Is that right? Right.
Oh, yeah.
a lot younger than me.
Me.
And that's good because, it's their future. And that's what the other thing, when I hope that this will, because young people use this type of communication today, social media and all that, if we get into the 21st century with that might get more people, younger people involved with what's going on in the town and participating. Because a lot of these young people got families too, a couple of children or whatever, and they're the ones that have the most at stake. I ain't going to be around a hell of a lot longer.
Hey, I can relate. I hear you.
Yeah.
So again, the logo, the new website is
Yeah.
getting close. Next month, that should be up and
Yeah.
Yeah,
up and running.
we hired a local drone photographer to, well, I should say they hired, but it comes out of Promote Swanton.
It's a we thing.
Hired a drone photographer to take pictures of different areas. He's going to submit those by the 17th, and then our web developer is going to upload those. So we chose some areas that we thought we wanted to highlight, and so we're hoping that that the pictures turn out nicely. He does good work, so we're excited to see what he has.
Yeah, and we were able to hire a consultant to come up with this design, and a branding program for Swanton. It's good. If you read it, you're going to feel really good about Swanton.
That's right.
That's if we don't promote ourselves, nobody else is going to.
I'm sure you're right about that.
And if you look at we've seen some of this stuff with I don't call them our competitors, but our fellow communities, St. Albans Town, St. Albans City. They're doing a lot of things that we're not doing, and it's not that we want to be like them because we want to be like Swanton, but we've got to promote ourselves, and it's for me, it's got more to do with the people that live in Swanton than the people that live outside of Swanton.
Yeah.
And we're doing it together.
Yeah.
And I think that's something that needs to be highlighted up and down is the collaboration between the village, the town, the community businesses, the folks that have invested time into all of the little parts to this. It really is a whole community effort to continuing to build our economic development and to grow our community. From not just, the grand list taxes, we're building community pride, we're building togetherness, and I think, we three leaders here are continuing to strive to do that every single day, which is something that Swanton can be really proud about.
Yeah. And I know that, on social media, I've read, that the village board and the town board doesn't get along. We don't talk to each other. And I can assure folks that that's absolutely incorrect.
Yeah, it sounds like the history, I've been around for a while, it sounds like you've done pretty well together. Of course, I was dealing for decades with St. Albans City and town having some big issues, and they seem to be doing pretty well these days.
Yeah,
But
so-
sounds like you folks have done pretty well most of the time.
Yeah, and I think since I've been on the board, I've seen a lot more collaboration like this.
Yeah.
This was born shortly after I got on the board, and we've spent a lot of months working up towards this.
I'm sure Brian Savage and Bill Sheets talk to each other, right, I can
Daily, I
only
would
assume,
say.
regularly, maybe daily.
Yeah, so it is important, for the boards to work together, and I feel we do, maybe not so much publicly,
Yeah.
but, Susie works with us, and
You
that,
do have joint meetings on
We have-
occasion, do you
On
know?
on occasions,
Yeah.
and, when issues come up such as the bridge issue, the village trustees wanna know,
Sure.
what the select board or what the town, cause it affects the town too,
Sure.
Well, everybody in the village is part of Swanton
Yeah,
Town
every-
as well,
that's-
so.
That's right, that's
point.
why
I got a tax bill that proves it.
yeah,
Good
because
point, Nicole.
Myself as a select board member, I feel I represent the people of the village, always
Yeah.
have, even
Yeah.
when I was on way back.
Yeah.
Because they are part of the town.
Yeah,
And I know way back there used to be a lot of animosity between the boards and one taking advantage of the other. I mean, the fire department issue, but realistically, maybe you might think the budget's too high, but if the town had its own fire department,
Yeah.
we'd be paying the same tax rate we are now.
more.
I mean, maybe if we ran it, we could. Are we going to cut the budget in half and have a fire department? No. So it's not realistic to think that we're going to be better off. Same thing with the police issue.
right, good luck. Well, I mean, Swanton Town doesn't want its own police department, what a good deal, I'm kidding. Good luck with the
Yeah.
expense of that. Remember seeing a couple months ago, Enosburg Falls has had some issues with law enforcement, as a lot of folks have, and it seems like I read a story, they were thinking
were
about
thinking
forming
about-
their own, boy, I'm saying, good luck with that.
Yeah.
Maybe they still are.
No. And
Yeah,
I think,
no, I don't know where they stand on that, but it just good luck trying to find somebody who wants
Not to mention,
be a
not to mention if they can
police
fund it,
officer.
finding
Yeah.
anybody. I've been around long enough, I can go back to the days when Enosburg Falls, Buzzy Billadu, and Richford, Homer Combs had their own police departments. Remember one time in a column or something suggesting that state police were better trained or something, and they got to me pretty quickly, and anyway, but that was a long time ago. Down to about 3 minutes. Feel free to jump in with any
well,
other
one thing
stuff
I
you
want
wanna
to
mention.
highlight too is I want to make sure that I want people to go on. Even right now, they can go to our website,
Yeah,
and there's a form on there that they can fill out to get those email alerts.
and to get to that website, what do they have to find, what are they doing?
Swanton, Vermont.
Swanton, yep,
It's not too
SwantonVermont.org.
tough. Okay,
Because that way we can get the information out to more people. We haven't been doing that,
Yeah.
so that's our fault. But we want to do it. We want people, to sign up so we can get it out to them.
yeah,
Meeting notices, minutes when they're available, and just as important, in fact, maybe even more important, is what's going on activity-wise in Swanton.
Yeah.
So we get more people to come to the people that live in Swanton, to get to know each other, build a stronger community.
Or if you're not sure about something too, there's a great frequently asked questions section on who do I call for what. So
Really?
if you're not sure, what to do about maybe a birth certificate, a marriage license, it will tell you which clerk to go to, whether it be
Really?
town or village. If it's a utility problem, who to call for animal control and what kind of things animal control will respond to. Town health emergencies, recreation, library, copy of your tax bills, some things that, people might think are simple questions, but people, they're questions that have been asked before that if we can help, cut down who you're asking or point you where to go, that it will create more, transparency and trust between.
yeah. Susie, you get the sense that there are a lot of people out there who would like to know more about what's going on if they can get to them? Or-
Yeah, I do think so. I think that not just like what's going on, but where to go. I've heard stories of people showing up at the village clerks asking for a birth certificate.
And
when
they should be at the town?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure that happens.
So I think just getting the information out. There's two forms of there's two governments in Swanton, and you go to this one for this and that one for that. And
Yeah.
oh, by the way, this is what we got going on here, and there. And I think that and also you got the DRB, you got our meetings are cataloged on there, so when they say, well, I don't remember that being there, there's historical information.
Yeah.
Because people are getting tons of emails.
Tell
Well, some of them are
me
junk.
about it. I get
Yeah,
over
they go
100 a
down, they
day.
hit delete, but if they see something from Swanton, they might just stop and open it,
Yeah,
and, and that might get their attention.
Yeah.
yeah.
And they'll say, well, I'm kind of interested in this, we really need more people involved. And this is what the whole goal is, and we guess we didn't get to it.
Anyway, we covered a lot of ground. On that note, we got to wrap it up. Thanks to Susie
Thank
Kelleher,
you.
Swanton Village trustee, Earl Fournier, Vice Chair of the Swanton Select Board, Nicole Draper, Swanton Select Board member and Executive Director of Swanton Rec. Thanks for your time. Thanks to
you.
my producer, Alan Cunningham. I'm Richard Cowperthwait. Thanks for joining us here on Northwest Access TV. See you next time.